So the 2023 Grammys have officially come to an end. We have all the winners. Everything is said and done. How do you feel about this year's Grammys?
Listen, I don't want to be negative, but with every Grammy season, there's always your fair share of disappointments, and this year was like no other in terms of that. It was cool, though, to see them honor hip-hop the way that they did for the
absolutely.
50th anniversary, but let's jump right into the categories, bro, right? Best Rap Album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers by Kendrick Lamar was the big winner. And how did you feel about that? I think that it was a given, but I was scared they were going to give it to like Jack Harlow or something, right?
No, definitely. And I think that like it was kind of placed for Kendrick to win because if you look at the caliber of the other albums next to it, I mean, it is a really head-along race, bro, for Kendrick. Like, he's far ahead from everyone else in that category.
Yeah.
It's Almost Dry by Pusha T, though. That's an honorable mention. It didn't crack my top 10 albums of the year last year, but still, I do think that
happy
Kendrick
for Kendrick, but I still feel like Jid, Nas, Denzel Curry all put out better albums, and they weren't even fucking nominated, so it's a bit weird to see that.
Mr. Morale was in my top 3 last year, though, so
yeah,
I'll give it a W.
That was all right. Next up, Best Rap Song. Kendrick won again for the Hard Part 5, beating out Churchill Downs, God Did, Pushin' P, and Wait For You. This was a must, bro. Like, all the different perspective shifts that Kendrick went through, even the fucking Marvin Gaye sample, everything was flawlessly executed for that track, and I'm happy to have seen a win, bro.
Yeah, and I think Kendrick did a good job at the Grammys this year, and I think he's like third all time now for Grammy wins by a rapper. I still think Kanye and Jay-Z are in front of him with 24, but I was very happy with the Kendrick selections because regardless of what you think of the show, like, they had to award it to something that was reasonable, bro. I'm sorry. Like, if God Did was going to do a complete sweep at this year's Grammys, like, how credible is that? You've already snubbed, like, every other album from the rap genre that actually made a lot of movements within the community. The quality was there, so at least give it to the rap album.
I don't even know how God Did got all those nominations, just because I feel like that's one of the most overhyped songs that we've had in a long time. The Jay-Z verse is cool, but when you're looking at the different verses on the Hard Part 5, nothing really compares.
Yeah, the writing is absolutely impeccable in the Hard Part 5, so I definitely do think it was deserved.
Next up, though, we have Best Rap Performance. You had FNF by Glorilla, you had Pushin' P by Gunna, Vegas by Doja Cat, God Did Again, and then the Hard Part 5 ended up taking it. And I'm happy that I got 2 awards, bro, because if there's a song deserving of that, it was definitely that, right?
Oh, absolutely. I believe it made what? I think it was top 2 on my list for last year for Songs of the Year, and I had Walking in front of it, but if there was a record that definitely deserved it, it was the Hard Part 5. Man, going back to that moment when it dropped, like, I was at my grandparents' place, and I remember we were waiting because the anticipation for Kendrick was super high. You know, we were amidst of the rollout, and then boom, the Hard Part 5 drops, and I'm like, guys, I gotta go. Like, I'm sorry, I have to skip dinner for tonight. I gotta go to the studio and review this new single, and honestly, it's still been in my rotation. It's one of the best Kendrick songs off of that album because it's technically considered.
No,
like
bro.
a part
If
of the
we're
Mr.
being
Morale.
real, like, it's better than any song off of Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers.
That's a hot take, but I think like stuff like, you know, Worldwide Steppers is in that conversation.
Not better.
United in Grief is
Not
in conversation. Father Time's in conversation.
Not better.
It's comparable though. It is very comparable.
I really disagree with that, but I mean, I'm happy to have seen him win, and it's crazy because Kendrick almost did the entire clean sweep of all the rap categories, because the only one that he didn't win was Best Melodic Rap Performance, which he was nominated for with Die Hard, but it ended up going to Wait For You by Future. And
I called that one.
You called that one? My whole thing with that track is that I feel like if it wasn't for Thames' performance, the melodies from Future and Drake aren't all that impressive. So I feel like, if anything, they should have awarded higher from Thames from 2020 rather than Wait For You. But I can't be mad at it because it was a good sample flip.
It was a good sample flip. And I kind of hated on that song when it first released. I wasn't a big fan of it. I didn't like the way it sounded. And I found like the sample was way too prominent within the song. And I didn't like Drake or Future's performance all that much because I feel like they weren't doing too much on the song itself. Like, it's still on the lower end of their collaborations. But still, as time passed, I'm like, oh, this is pretty cool, but they still have some corny bars in there, so I don't visit it all that much.
Yeah, no, it's not great, but I mean, listen, when it comes to like the entire show as a whole, I feel like once again they did a crazy job of actually showcasing hip hop and the 50 years of the genre's dominance. It was crazy to see Method Man perform Method Man and have Jay-Z in the back kind of reciting the lyrics. That was an awesome moment. Apart from that, Kendrick's actual acceptance speech for winning Best Rap Album was really
beautiful
cool.
because he was talking about how, you know, hip hop is evolving and hip hop is going into a super nice place right now. And that's quite encouraging coming from someone that's a leader of this community and someone that's, been a trailblazer for everyone in hip hop, because there's a lot of negativity around hip hop right now. Oh, it's dying, or there's nothing new coming out, it's stale. But I kind of disagree with that, just because we had one of the most stacked years ever for hip hop in 2022. So many fantastic releases, and people are getting more and more of an open ear. People want to hear quality. Like, people are getting tired of bullshit, and I think times are changing. So it was nice to see Kendrick, get his flowers tonight, but still, like, I think the community is still intact and hip hop is going stronger than ever.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is. But at the same time, the Grammys, I'm going to sound like a broken record, but it's just fuck up after fuck up. Like, how do you leave out 3 out of the 4 categories and reveal the winners to those before the actual filming of the show begins? Like, it's literally
It's a backhanded
it's
compliment.
the biggest genre in the US right now, and you're treating it like they're just random awards that don't even matter all that much.
Who gives a fuck, dude? At the end
I
of the
give
day,
a fuck. I mean, bro.
I mean, like, but I'm not even gonna lie to you. Like, I feel like as the years have gone on, it's more of a crazy like PR thing that I'm starting to notice. That's the way I kind of feel about it. Is like, yes, obviously there is merit to a Grammy. Like any artist that wins a Grammy should feel super proud for doing so. It's a huge
Yeah, 'cause
moment.
we
It's
want
a
our favorite
celebration.
artists to be celebrated, and they
Exactly.
deserve to be.
But the thing is that the selections that go into these categories are always super questionable. There's always a motif behind everything. And dude, like, a lot of it is just for the PR and the media. So do I completely like care about what's going on?
Not really.
No,
Yeah,
because
neither
like
do I.
I care about like what people are saying like within our community. Like, seeing so much love for the Forever Story, Melt My Ice Your Future last year. That was beautiful, bro. Like, Denzel and JID got their flowers, bro. Black Thought got his flowers, bro. Nas got his flowers
Yeah.
last year, and that's what matters, bro. Like, if you have a unanimous like cult following around your album, like, fuck what any publication says. Like, that's what really matters. So
And that's why I
what
feel
I'm
like
looking
artists
for.
that end up, losing out of these winning categories and don't end up actually getting nominated, they shouldn't take that to heart, just because the Grammys isn't the so-all be-all of, music acclaim at the end of the day. We can't really judge these award shows as being the actual, I would say, gatekeepers of what music it could be considered the best music.
Yeah, but I
we
think
can't
that
look
goes
at it
for
that way.
I think that goes for anything. Like, people should have their own opinions on albums and shouldn't have to buy into a publication or a media event to like say, okay, this is record of the year, this is song of the year. I really do feel like people are starting to think outside the box at the moment. People are starting to go into records and understanding the quality of them. Like,
Yeah,
Jack
it's
like,
still
example,
disappointing that like the biggest award show is not recognizing what the entire community validates as being some of the best music of that
But
year.
this is the thing, is that maybe we're only the hypersensitive community, like that 1% that really
I
cares,
know.
and like we kind of have the loudest voice just because of how much we're talking about it. But maybe the other 99% just fucks with everything else, and like
Yeah.
we don't have really a say. But example, like, Come Home the Kids Miss You by Jack Harlow, you could argue that that's one of the most commercially successful albums of the year. It's super accessible for everyone, but from like a pure lyric standpoint, bro, and like a pure album experience, I'm sorry, that's not playing in best album of the year. I'm really sorry.
It kind of ranks more towards the bottom end of all albums for hip hop of that year.
What was the album experience within that? Example, something like God Did by DJ Khaled. You want to judge Khaled on his curation skills. Bro, I'm sorry. Like, that sounds like more of a playlist. So, what are the criterias that they're looking at? That's more of like what I'm interested in.
The
at this
bottom
point,
line is like, just don't take this shit seriously, to be honest with you. But let me ask you, how did you feel about the Album of the Year award and how it didn't go to Kendrick? Do you feel like he deserved it?
In my eyes, yes. But I'm a hip hop fan. There's obviously bias there. Like, to say that Harry Styles didn't deserve it would kind of be blasphemy, just because, it's everything and it's encompassing everything. Do I think Kendrick had Album of the Year? Yes, absolutely. Like, I think that like he should have
out of the nominees.
out of the nominees,
yeah.
But I understand why they went with Harry, and plus, like, as a hip hop fan, I've kind of accepted the fact that they're gonna snub a rap album every single time. Like, bro, it happened with Donda. It's gonna happen with Kendrick. It's kind of like they put it there for promo to a certain extent, but it's never gonna win. The last album to win that was the Speaker Box Love Below, bro. And since then, there's been a lot of classic
I think
albums.
it's almost been like 20 years since they've given
It's
the
been
award
20 years,
to
man.
an actual hip hop album, and it's a bit discouraging. But I think what we can take out of this as a whole is the fact that we can look at the Grammys for being the actual real validators of quality music. I think that's what we can take out.
Yeah, you could take that out of it, but it's still fun to talk about.
Of course
So
it is. For the
that's
sake
why.
of
That's why the
conversation.
Grammys will always have value, is because you still want to talk about it and we still want to make content on it. So guys, let me know in the comment sections, how do you feel about the Grammys? What was the biggest snub this year? Is there albums, songs, artists that should have made the cut? Where did they get it right? Where did they get it wrong? Go to the comment section, guys. But thank you so much for watching NFR Podcast. If you are new to this, please hit the subscribe button, smash that like button, and we'll catch you in our next video.